Well, if you haven't remodeled or built a new home in the last, year, or maybe even 18 months, you may not be aware of what a complete catastrophe we have on our hands right now, particularly locally, but I think it's probably national. It's added up to the cost of materials, the availability of materials, things that we normally would walk in and just pick up at the lumber yard that are not there now, things that we have to order and wait. I tell my clients, things that used to take a week are now taking 4 or 5 weeks, things that would normally take a month, or let's say things that would take 4 or 5 weeks are now maybe sometimes taking 4 or 5 months. And so our world has gotten turned upside down, and it's affecting all of our ability to perform the way we're accustomed to performing. So I invited Mr. Richard Miller to put him in the hot seat now. And he can explain to his clients the problem. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Alex. It's been way too long.
Yeah, it's been way too long. I always enjoy having you here. I had a builder on last week, and I know my audience is probably, I don't know, maybe they're tired of hearing it, but I think it's really important that everybody understand where we're at on availability of materials, because I know that people get really frustrated. You've got a client and they're real excited. So when you're remodeling a house, there are phases you go through.
Sure.
Right? So you go through first of all, the homeowner decides, for whatever reason, we're going to do this.
Right.
And they're a little nervous about it. Then they start planning it. They start getting excited. And then it ends up where they call you or me, and they're like ramming. They're ready to go. Let's do it, man. We made our decision. We're going to spend the money. We're super excited about what it's going to be. And then you have to give them the shot of reality. And I hate that, because I want them to be happy from day one to the
Absolutely.
day you walk out.
Absolutely.
But there are certain realities now that we've never had to deal with before.
Yeah. So, I mean, starting with COVID, when COVID started, we started seeing, material supply availability issues with appliances, some light fixtures, things like that. Things that may have been sourced from China or had parts in China. We kind of worked around that with, I started ordering appliances at slab pour instead of 2 weeks before I needed them. Then we had lumber prices started to go up, and what was at first kind of an annoyance has turned into a real problem. Now that it looks like COVID is wrapping up, we're still having an increasing prices and increasing availability issues.
I read a super interesting article the other day about East Texas lumber production that was fascinating. And I'm sure this is sort of a nationwide problem, could be a global problem, but a lot of businesses shut down because of COVID.
Yeah.
A lot of mills shut down.
Right.
They shut down the Canadian border where a lot of our lumber
Our
comes
soft
from, and
lumbers.
is still shut down.
And tariffed them.
Yep.
And so we ended up not only not able to get them, but when we could get them, we couldn't afford them. And so that became a big problem. Now you do custom homes and
I do custom new builds and big remodels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of getting hit on all ends of this thing.
Yeah, definitely. With the lumber mills started shutting down for COVID, they didn't expect that there was going to be a housing boom. Right.
Or continued.
So they laid everybody off.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to be shut down for a while. And then the housing market just took off. Hottest housing market.
What
in
is
years.
driving that? What is driving that?
That is a good question. I'm not sure exactly what factors.
Well, I don't think you and I are smart enough to answer that question.
Definitely,
I don't even know why I asked it. That's why they call this the hot seat.
Hey, I'm a builder.
And so I talked to some people, and I brought this up in the last show, but I talked to some people recently about doing a kitchen, and they had already been talking to their designer for some time, and they got a delivery quote of 14 weeks on their appliances.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's
I
right.
was blown away by that.
Yeah.
Are you finding that some of our suppliers, are they not able to get them, or they're not stocking them, or did they get caught, like you say, after COVID, thinking everything's going to slow down, and it didn't?
So I think it depends on what it is, right? So appliances, maybe have parts from China, light fixtures maybe have parts from China. I actually ordered an appliance package this time last year for a house that I'm finishing up now. And just in March, I was confirmed that the last appliance had come in and was ready to
A
deliver.
year.
A year. Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea. You need to buy cheaper appliances. That's your problem.
Truck manufacturers are shut down right now because of chips. And now the appliances are smarter, they've got chips in them too. And I think that's where the backlog has related
So
to.
it's almost like
overseas
our
parts.
manufacturing is a global commodity, right? And so your refrigerator isn't just built in China. I mean, the parts are coming from all over the world.
Everywhere, yeah.
And so like you're saying, if they can't get a chip, or they can't get some other part, it doesn't get done.
Right.
It gets done. But a year, I had no idea it was taking that long.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's if you can get the material. When you talk about lumber and things like that, I had a $20,000 lumber package this time last year that I priced out. I'm gonna be ready for the lumber pretty soon. I'll probably pay $70,000 for that.
And
package.
and this was the question I had for our friend Donnie Mack, he just builds new homes. He doesn't get into the remodeling part of it. How are your clients dealing with this, and how are you able to deal with this from the financial part of a project? Because that's major. I mean, we can we've always told our clients in remodel, factor in a 10 to, depending on the size of the job. On a big job, I would tell them 20% fudge factor on for just a contingency.
Sure.
And that you easily will reach that, right? Well, now we're talking about way beyond that.
Way beyond that, yeah.
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 200-300%.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, like I was saying, what was an annoyance is now a real show-stopping issue, potentially. I'm a fixed price builder, but for new contracts, I'm having to go cost plus on several line items.
To protect you, but to also get the best deals you can for your client.
Right, yeah.
Right.
So going cost plus, and then, I have an escalation clause in my contract that I've never had to use, and I'll probably have to use it.
But are your clients hanging in there with you, or have they started delaying projects, or are they getting a little cold feet, or?
So
how's
I
that
haven't had
going?
a project delayed yet. We try to plan for as much of this as we can, but like I said, in the last few months, it's
uncontrollable.
It's gotten out of control.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm concerned about an overall slowdown. We may already be seeing it, but I mean, here's what happens, folks. The really big volume builders are buying bulk, and they're using prices that they paid a year ago for it. They're buying a trainload of stuff, a boxcar. A smaller builder is not able to do that, for many reasons. And so they're paying a more current price. And I think that it's the smaller volume builder that's going to be the most affected.
Right.
At some point, it's going to catch up to the volume builders, and they're still putting in massive developments all over the place.
All over the place.
It is incredible.
And making margins that they've never seen before, just because the market's so hot.
Right, right.
I've got a builder friend of mine that due to the shortages in OSB and engineered wood and things like that, has actually purchased a shipping container and started stockpiling OSB more than he needs due to the price, but also due to, at any price he may not be able to get it pretty soon. So, yeah.
And so, again, my concern is how this is going to affect us in the long run. I go on like an 18-month cycle in my head, and I watch how things are going in 18-month increments, because I've noticed over the years that when I start to see certain things in the market happen, particularly I watch the commercial market, because the commercial market is a lot of my clientele, the middle management type people. They're going to hire me to remodel a house. If that commercial market starts wavering, or they're laying people off, or they're canceling projects, it's always been about an 18-month trickle down. I know some of you people don't believe in trickle down, but it happens. And it takes about 12, 18 months for it to get down to where my guy is saying, I can't do it now, I'm too nervous, or whatever.
Right.
I have been looking for that, and then I realized we're in the middle of it. It started at COVID.
Right.
We're right in the middle of it, and I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
I mean, it was true to form this go around.
Yeah. My fear is it's going to get worse before it gets better here.
Well, we're just looking at the fourth quarter until there might be some sort of improvement, and then we still don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
My question is, how many of y'all over the years seen price reductions?
Well, you have seasonal price reductions.
A little bit.
So we'll have our lumber materials go up during the winter time and during certain times, but when they start selling more volume,
Yeah.
typically the manufacturers will drop. There'll be a little bit of a seasonal drop and get you back closer to normal. It's manageable. But boy, that I don't think it's ever coming down. And
That's
this
my
is going to,
point.
well, they also create shortages.
Sure.
So Richard remembers this, you remember this, they created a concrete shortage, and concrete went from, $35 a yard to $100 a yard. And it's never come down. I don't even know what it is now.
That's about $135, $140.
Okay, so, same thing with sheetrock, they did that. The same thing with roofing.
Well,
They
air
did
conditioning, heating, we've seen 12% increases so far this year, with another 6% coming in June.
Boy, this is a really downer discussion.
Sorry, it's reality.
But it is reality, and I think that I think it's a sign of the times of the things that we need to be talking about, though.
Right. And it's so it's not just appliances. It's not just lumber. The new kids on the block as far as shortages are concrete.
Oh, really?
Yep. So a couple of weeks ago, I had a flat work pour had on schedule with a very reputable concrete company, one of the best in the city. And they had to call me, they actually called me like at 3:30 in the morning and said our concrete supplier did not receive the truck of raw materials that he needs to make our concrete. So we're going to have to delay the pour. It's the first time that's ever happened.
And so, and there's a daisy chain effect.
Exactly.
And so he's delaying lots of pours.
Right.
So you're just back at the back of the line again.
Right. Yeah. Drywall, adhesive, things that use adhesive, drywall raw materials are coming down the road.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting how we're starting to see how all of this ties together globally.
Yeah.
It's really eye-opening.
Well, steel, copper,
Mm-hmm.
wire, all those things are seeing the same increases that you're seeing
Yep.
on other building materials.
So on our way out, my last question to you is your feeling for 2021 and beyond. How are you looking at things as a businessman coming up?
Sure. So, like I was mentioning, I'm having to adjust my contracting and pricing schemes so that it's not as easy to do a fixed price contract anymore, right? So variable price. I feel like that it's going to get better in 2021 or in 2022.
2022, but it's going to take until.
But there's going to be some rough times ahead before that happens.
Wow. I really appreciate you coming in and
Absolutely.
kind of laying it all out for us, because I think this is a very healthy discussion that we all need to be having. Thank you, Mr. Lawton, for
My pleasure.
for coming in
I
and
love
spending
being
the
on
day
the show
with
with you.
It's always fun. It's always
Yeah.
fun. I appreciate you, my audience. We are so happy to be here with you every week. We hope that you'll go and find us on all your social media, like us, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And until next week, this is Alex Guthrie. Look forward to seeing you next week. Hey, don't forget to follow us on all your social media, like us on Facebook, subscribe and share on YouTube, and check us out on all your social media platforms. Don't forget to watch Remodel Revolution on your smart TV, on Texas Weather Tracker TV, on Roku, Android, Apple, and Amazon TV, Sundays at 1 and 3 p.m. Central Standard Time.